everyone, Ashley Cannon Newell with you here this week for Papertrey Ink's Make It Monday. I have a pillow box stamping and assembly tutorial to share with you today, so let's go ahead and get started. I have a few pillow boxes. These are the ones that I made for the December 2012 release for Papertrey Ink, and I had a few questions on my post or to me directly about how I'm stamping on the cardstock to be able to get the pattern to flow completely around the pillow box design in order to get a fluent type of pattern. And I also had questions even on how to assemble these to make sure that they don't pop apart. So I thought this Make It Monday video would be a great time to share that with you all, so everyone will get a chance to see my techniques on ways to use all of Papertrey Ink's background stamps, how to build your own background stamps, and even how to assemble those pillow boxes to make great little keepsakes or little treats and giveaways for those that we love and care about the most. So I have here some winter wisteria cardstock. This one is measured at, this is 8.5 by 5.5. So I just cut it in half, and then I get this size. And here is my essential pillow box die. And as you can see, there's a little bit extra here, but you can always cut that off and use that as a scrap for the future project. So I'm going to show you. Here's my Cuttlebug here. My plates are a little bit loved, I like to say, but they still work. What I do a lot of times is flip my plates back and forth over time so they do not warp. As you can see here, it's pretty flat. If I don't flip it enough, it's going to either concave or go the other way. So I'm just going to flip that one. Put my cardstock down. So I have my A plate, my B plate, my cardstock, my essential pillow box die face down, and my C plate, which has been cracked. Whoops. That comes from a lot of use. So just run it through. All right. I also like to bring it back for two reasons. I make sure that it's cut, and for the second reason is because it's brought back to me. I don't have to go on the other side. A little bit lazy there. Okay, so remove everything from your sandwich, all the components, and as you can see here, everything is all die cut and scored. So the main thing you want to make sure is that your sandwich is right and all of your areas are completely die cut, and then you have your nice scored lines here, 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 there, there, and there. Now, do not assemble at this point if you are planning to stamp on it. I like to keep it open, so I have my options open on various ways I can stamp. The first way I'm going to show you is how to do the diagonal stripe lines. And this technique kind of goes, so I'm using Background Basics Super Stripes. And this technique kind of goes with Papertrey Ink's they're newer, longer background stamps. Some of the original ones, the ones in the very beginning, are a little bit shorter, and I'm going to show you how you can still use those to get great background patterns onto your pillow box. But for right now, I'm just going to show you how to use the newer ones, which are longer and allow you to do other things that the shorter ones you can't. So I'm going to take here some ink. I'm using Winter Wisteria, which coordinates with the Winter Wisteria cardstock. Alright, I'm just going to ink it up. I don't need to really ink up the ends because this stamp, which is, it's so great, it's so long, sometimes you don't need to ink it up completely. Since I haven't measured it out yet, I'm going to I'm also going to take a piece of paper here and stamp off first. I always stamp off first onto scrap paper just to get it started to see how good my stamp impression is going to be. And I put my finger there, so, but it's pretty good for right now. Okay, so I know I want it at a diagonal. So I'm going to actually start in the middle here. And keeping it open, just completely do your pattern all the way on each side. So you can create your pattern where you have space in between, which I like to do. Or you can have it, the stripes to butt up against each other. Just gonna get a little bit there. All right. So I'm done with my stamping. And here is my design. So now what I usually do is pre-fold all of the flat areas that I can. I don't bother with those. And I use score tape, which you can find on the Papertronics website. And this is 1/4 inch score tape. I put it at the end here. Just tear a piece off, secure it, remove the backing. Since I already pre-scored it, it's easy to push together, and I just make it flat. Adhere that down really well. You can use on the inside your fingers, but score tape works the best in my opinion. It has a very good hold. Now what you want to do is either end, push this side in first because you want the person to be able to get it out. And then this side next. Okay, make sure that's nice and scored well. The same on the opposite side. Fold that in. And then fold this side in as well. And now you're ready to decorate and assemble, decorate and embellish your pillow box. So that's one way you can use stamp diagonally on here with those long stripes, or use any of Papertronics' longer stamps to basically allow you to cover the entire piece of cardstock after it's die cut. Let's see what's next. I'm not going to die cut again because you saw how I did that. But I'm going to get this one here. This is probably one of my favorite polka dot stamps. I'm using Background Basics, Polka Dot Basics. It's the first one that was released. I'm just going to clean the back here. It felt kind of funny. And add it to my stamp press. There we go. Didn't want to stick there for a second. I was still a little wet. Okay, so I have Hawaiian Shores cardstock that I use to die cut the Essential Pillow Box pattern again. And since this is a much shorter, I'm not going to be able to get all the way across as I would with one of the longer ones, the newer ones that have been released. So the other time I was stamping diagonally with the longer one, but if you have a longer, let me just show you. If you have one of the longer, you can still stamp all the way across, because you don't have to stamp on this piece here because it's going to be folded in and tucked away. So you just need to make sure that your longer stamps, your stamp background needs to stamp from this end all the way to the scored line side. So it works with the longer ones. But you can see with the shorter ones, you're kind of left with a little bit. So what I do now is folded in half, and I stamp. So I'm just going to use Hawaiian Shores because I like tone on tone. I don't know exactly how I'm going to embellish these yet. So tone on tone I know will match whatever other color choices I decide to bring in. And I start from the top. I am going to start from the top and work my way down. And it's okay if it gets on this piece because this piece, again, once you assemble with your score tape, gets folded in. Okay, so this is one side done. Now that this side is done, I have to flip it and do this side. You could secure it down so that it won't pop up like this during your stamping process. Okay. I'm going to use the 1/8. That works just fine. The closer you can get it to the edge, the better, because that's where the part is where you'll see if it's lifting. So I'm using a skinnier piece, a thinner piece of score tape. I'm going to double it up and use 2. Hold it flat. Push one side in, push the other. One side and the other. Very easy. And there's my polka dot pattern. Seamless, even though I had to fold it in half. Okay? The next thing I wanted to share was stamp building. And I have here, I already decided on the Simple Sunflower stamp set to build sunflowers all over this. So what I plan to do is use just the smaller sunflower, this one, and a couple of the leaves. And now what I'm going to do is put this down, and then I'm going to see where I want the leaves to kind of go, and I'm going to do it like this, I think. And I use my other block here, put it on my other block, so now I can stamp at the same time. And you'll see what I mean right now. So I have Spring Moss cardstock for my Essential Pillow Box. And I'm using Plum Pudding ink and New Leaf ink for my leaves. Okay, stamp on my scrap paper. Alright, you can start anywhere essentially. Alright, and this is what I mean by stamp at the same time, so I can stamp my leaves and know where I can position to have my next flower. So I won't do it too closely. Alright, and I can just go back and forth. Alright, I can do a little bit here. When you're filling in, it's just a matter of where you want it to kind of flow. I think that might be good. You could have added the center part if you want. You can just leave it blank like I did. It doesn't matter. And I had one more to share with you, and that's heat embossing. And I'm using the shorter stamps for this one. Just going to use a regular block now. No rhyme or reason. It just sometimes I like to revert back to what I'm used to using. Okay, so similar to the polka dot way where we had to fold this, And technically, I'm going to go ahead and secure this down when I'm heat embossing because I want to make sure it doesn't lift up. So when you are heat embossing, I'm going to have here, I'm going to use this gold. I think that'll look really pretty on here. When you are heat embossing, the trick is how do you keep the process going without over heating the embossing powder, or making sure you don't get the embossing powder everywhere. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to grab a dryer sheet. Smells really good too. It spruces up the place. Kind of like an embossing buddy. If you have one, use one of those. These are just easier for me to grab because my laundry room is down here within my craft area as well. And I'll leave that out to make it smell good. Alright, and I'm ready to heat emboss. So what I have to do is start at the top, work my way down. Alright, so now I'm going to take my scrap paper here, sprinkle my gold powder all over. You're probably saying that's a lot of powder, but I like to do that to make sure I don't have to keep adding more. Alright. Now what I'm doing now is what you can't see, because I'll completely blow all of this powder everywhere. I'm just blowing some of the excess off. And now I'll put this right back. And cleanup is done. Okay, so I'll let that dry a little bit. Making sure. Okay, now we're ready to do the other side. And we're all done. So let that set for a second. Finish assembling. And so yes, you can have a heat embossed pillow box. I think this is really dressed up, especially if you're having a nicer affair, you wanted some great party favors or something like that, and you can finish it off with some elegant type of embellishing and design. So here are the 3 ways that you can stamp your essential pillow box. Using the longer background stamps, you can stamp the stripes diagonally, or just the regular pattern stamps, you can stamp completely horizontally across. The shorter background stamps, you just have to fold it in half, stamp one side, flip it, and fold the other side. And create your own pattern. Keep the cardstock open, stamp your pattern, use multiple inks if you desire, and create your own type of wallpaper or pattern paper design. And also heat emboss, whether you're using the longer stamps or the shorter stamps, and you can flip it each side. Either way, just take your time when you're heat embossing and you can get a great, elegant, fun heat embossed texture design. So that is this week's Make It Monday. I'm going to be back to show you the end results with them all embellished. Thanks so much for watching. I'm Ashley Cannon Newell for Paper Tray Ink. Bye!